Hello and good afternoon and welcome to Lommel in Belgium for round 14 of the FIM Motocross World Championship. We are at Lommel. It's the MXGP of Belgium. My name is Paul Maiden. Alongside me for all the races today, Jason Thomas from Fly Racing in the USA. We'll bring him in a moment, but despite his place in history, we've only ever seen 23 winners around this Lommel circuit. The first was back in 1990, and that was Pekka Vähkönen of Finland on a 250cc Yamaha. But since then, KTM have pretty much dominated here with 12 wins in total. Kawasaki are next with 4, Suzuki 3, Yamaha, Husqvarna and Honda all taking 1 win each. But in the MX2 category, Jorge Prado is looking to make it 3 in the last 3 years. He was victorious in 2017 and 2018 on the KTM, and he is the championship leader coming into this 14th round. Quick look at the circuit in a moment, but that is how it looks right now. It's deep, it's loamy, and 1,880 meters of torture await the riders. See some of the jump faces being fixed, but that's all that's being fixed. Even last night, the circuit was left pretty bumpy, and it's going to be a real challenge for the riders as well, because temperatures creeping up warmer than yesterday. But before MX2, just a few moments ago, we had Gerard Perez, a Monster Energy Can-Am Rally Raider, taking laps around this racetrack, having a bit of fun just before the riders go to work and reach the business end. As you can see, those things are obviously a lot of fun, but not when they're driving them for business, but absolutely fantastic to see that here. Riders are in the waiting zone. Before we go any further, let's take a look at the GoPro track preview with Jago Geerts, I believe. So Jago Geerts on the Monster Energy Yamaha rider, then threw a quick right into a tight left, the Fox hole shot line on the exit of the turn. And then from there, you can already start to see how the track will look on the opening laps of MX2 Race 1. Jason Thomas, this left-hand turn here opens up, gives riders a lot of options.
Yeah, this morning too. The track's going to be much rougher than this, but you can already see how rough it is. It's going to be a brutal test for these guys this afternoon.
Over this tabletop, by the end of the race, riders might not even be clearing that, and these holes here are getting bigger and bigger. It's one of the parts on the racetrack that wasn't fixed overnight. We've already had a 125 and 250 race, European Championship race on the circuit today already. Over the jump over on the far side, the old start straight used to be over there on the right, you know, and over the mountain here, or the hill if you like, some riders jumping long. And again, this next left and then a couple series of rights, a real challenge. We've seen a lot of overtaking around this right-hand turn in particular, Jason.
Yeah, that's one of the great things about this track. You really never have to follow. Inside, outside, there's lots of options. So even if you do get a bad start, there's an opportunity to move forward.
Very deep when you land through there. It's critical, it's crucial to be efficient. Get up out of the seat, on the pegs. Gear selection, rev range has to be right, but you have to fully commit all the way through here, because if you're in the wrong gear, the suspension's not going to work, the power at the rear wheel is not going to dig in and propel you forward. Out of the right turn here, past pit lane, only about 100 meters or so. Again, these braking bumps here are going to be crucial and really, really huge by the end of the race. Over the single, into the Monster Energy finish line jump here. And then as we land, into the left and then into the wave section. Riders used to be able to quad there on the MXGP bike, but only tripling in this weekend. Triple, double, and then doubling off the final part. And actually, if you see from the qualifying race highlights in a moment, Prado was very efficient into that corner.
As usual, that's I think that's going to be a recurring theme this weekend.
But Jago Geerts, of course, we're on board with here, and he's going to be hoping to get a good result. This is the final turn, and the riders short, sharp, straight, over the jump, back onto the start straight for another lap of Lommel. Well, a few moments ago, Lisa Leyland was down on the grid as the atmosphere starts to build ahead of MX Race 2. She did catch up with the Monster Energy Yamaha rider of Jago Geerts, but also Nani Roma, the Monster Energy Rally Raid driver.
Hello Hello everyone and welcome to the start of the first MX2 race of the day here in Lommel. We're well underway, we're warmed up, but we do have a special guest. It's Nanny Roma, who's here representing Monster Energy. Now, Nanny, first off, just tell us, what have you been up to?
Yeah, I here 2 weeks in holidays with my family and with my son. My son loves motocross and loves come here to training. It's young, but he loves here. But also I here to you help the young rider in 125 category. And yeah, we are here to support him and also to see this wonderful place. For me, this is one of the more hard tracks in the World Championship, and it's wonderful to be here with the public, to everything.
And of course, you actually know how hard it is out there in the sand, because you used to train here, didn't you, in the past, when you used to ride?
Yeah, for me, much respect to everybody to race here, you know, the first to the last one. I remember in the times in the summertime in Spain it's too hot and we come here from 1 month to prepare the Dakar. And Lommel, it's the more hard. I remember the first day we arrived here, and we feel really tired after training, you know, and it's not like today. I mean, today the track is complete difficult, but for us in this moment it's a really good training, you know, but only used from that. But I don't believe go inside now. Now for me it's impossible to go in, you know, but it's nice.
I mean, it's totally different level, isn't it? And of course, you mentioned your son actually rides 85s, doesn't he?
Yes.
Will we be seeing him riding up, like lining up on the grid against our Jorge Prado?
Maybe not. You know, I so scared when I see my son to racing, you know, but he loved the motocross. He's follow all these guys, you know, and I don't know, one day we are here, but for me the most important, he enjoy and he make a sport. Yeah. To be champion, I know how hard it is. You know, but for me, the kids, it's nice to have this passion from a sport, and you know, and motocross, it's nice, but a little bit scared when I see my son.
Well, today you can just enjoy it, have fun. It's great to have you here, Nanny.
Thank you very much.
Now, a rider I really want to speak to is Kemia Yamaha rider Jago Geerts, and home rider as well. Jago, home GP, I guess one you've been really looking forward to.
Yeah, for sure. It's always nice coming to here in Lommel. And I really like the GP, and a lot of fans showed up, so it's really nice to ride here.
But of course, with a home GP comes expectations, come pressure, and it is important for a rider to manage that and stay focused, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't want to put too much pressure on myself, and just ride like I can, do my best, and then we will see where I end up, yes.
And just finally, yesterday we saw Team Belgium. You were selected for the Team Belgium at the Motocross of Nations. That must be a fantastic feeling and something to look forward to as well.
Yeah, for sure. Last year was already really nice, but now this year I'm selected again, and it's really close to home, only 300 kilometers, I think. So yeah, the track is really nice, and us it's a sand track, so I think we have a good team for this year, and yeah, it's going to be really fun.
Jago, best of luck for your home GP. Thank you. Good luck there to Jago and all the guys here on the start grid. It's time for MX2 Race 1.
Thank you, Lisa. Obviously, the riders out on track for their cycling lap. They're all now back in there getting ready for MX2 Race 1. And so are we, Jason Thomas and I. 30 minutes plus 2 laps. MX2 Race 1 coming up shortly. Before that, though, let's take a quick look at the championship standings coming into this 14th round of the FIA Motocross World Championship, the MXGP of Belgium. Prado on 5.94. He is 90 points clear of Thomas Olsen, with Jago Geerts back into third after the lock-it in Czech Republic a week ago. He's 113 off of Olsen. Anyway, here's the highlights from the qualifying race MX2 yesterday. Jorge Prado got off to his usual flying start. He was never headed from there. That's all we need to say, really. But his teammate gave him a good run into the first corner, Jason.
Yeah, Vialle's been great this year, and it's not a shock for me to see those 2-1-2 coming around the first corner.
Darren Sinai got squeezed by Jacoby going into the first corner. Look, as everybody else tried to go around the outside. Jago Geerts was buried in about 10th position, but it would get worse for the Belgian, despite picking off a few people on the opening lap. He found himself having to pick himself up, but it was Olsen who crashed first, though. And that was a big crash. Lucky to get away with it. Jago Geerts here sees the full impact there of Olsen going down. Looking at him, he caught the bank as well.
I don't think he's seen much of anything at the moment.
No. But tear-offs and roll-offs being pulled left, right and centre. But towards the end of the lap, Olsen did pick himself up, but then 3-4 guys went down. One over here on the right-hand side, then Larinaga, then Gustavo Pessoa, Richard Sakina. Sterry was in a good position. He was up inside the top 5, but it was Geerts who fell first. Picked himself up, crossed the line in 11th, and then he would charge his way through. Then Adam Sterry fell from 4th place, allowed his teammate and Ben Watson to go through, as Thomas Olsen put on a charge right the way back from the field to an eventual 8th place finish. Ben Watson was impressive. He got himself up into 4th place despite massively blistered hands from lack of riding over the last few weeks. And Valandren on the Honda, and Vialle was solid as well, coming home 2nd and 3rd. Jago Geerts turned on the afterburners in the latter stages of the race, found his way past Sterry, and then Jacoby, and then his teammate to pick himself up to 4th with 2 laps to go. Watson would eventually come home in 5th ahead of Jacoby and Sterry. But it was Jorge Prado who crossed the line. 8 wins in a row in the qualifying race, 10 for the year. The Red Bull KTM rider will go to the line on pole for the MX2 GP of Belgium. Take a look at the top 5 in the championship. Obviously, Prado, Olsen, Jago Geerts, Tom Vialle and Henry Jacoby. And look at where all the wins have come from. 12 out of 13 rounds for Prado, and just 1 win for Thomas Olsen, of course, when Prado was injured.
Yeah, I remember thinking, could Olsen hold this points gap all the way to the end? And yeah, that was not the case.
No, I mean, he's not had a look in. You know, winning the every GP since Valkenswaard. Jorge Prado, 12 in total, 11 on the bounce. Impressive stuff. This is how the riders go to the line then. Based on their qualifying race yesterday, Prado goes to the line first for the 10th time this year, ahead of Valandren, Vialle, Geerts, Watson, Jacoby, Sterry, Olsen. Cyril Janot put in a good performance on the A1 M Husqvarna, and then Matej Boirame came in 10th. Maxime Renault, Morgan Leciado, Alvin Austin, Mitchell Harrison found the going tough yesterday, but the race actually turned out better than his time practice. Now here's Jorge Prado. Just check out the last 2 years and this one so far. Finished 7th in the championship in 2017, 460 points and only 4 race wins. Last year that changed, doubled his tally pretty much, and then 17 wins, and he's already close to 600 points and 22 race wins. That's progress, Jason Thomas.
It's pretty impressive. So we're going to bet on who's going to win this. I'm going to take Prado, and you can have anybody else you'd like.
And I'll take Prado. No, I mean, a lot of people here expecting and hoping that Jago Geerts can get a race win or an overall victory here, of course, always going through his routine. He needs to do that to fire himself up. The guy is so laid back, he's almost horizontal.
Yeah, it's been the start, really. Every single time he's put himself in a position to run up front. Going back to Indonesia, he had a crash, but he could have won there. But if he does not get out front with Prado, it's going to be over. It doesn't matter if he has the pace or not. Prado will be 10 seconds out front before he blinks.
Ben Watson to the right of the box there in the centre. It's quite a fast start straight, isn't it? Because the guys swing through a right and then it tightens up into the left-hand turn. Yeah, and they're full brakes going into that left. Everyone's sliding around, making contact a little bit. So hopefully everybody gets through clean. And hopefully this guy stays up on the first lap as well, because with Jorge Prado, with Tom Vialle, with Calvin Valandren, who yesterday said in a pre-grid interview or in Lockett felt he was the fastest rider in MX2. And he wasn't too bad yesterday. He actually hung with Prado early in the race. Prado eventually stepped out on him a little bit, but yeah, impressive stuff from him. What about the FNH Kawasaki's? Adam Sterry and Henry Jacoby. I think if Adam Sterry, in fact, I spoke to his dad this morning and he said that when he slipped off, he just found it difficult to get back into his rhythm. So going from 4th to an eventual 7th, Adam Sterry, as Jago Geerts also came through in the latter stages of the race. Yeah, he mentioned yesterday on our studio show that this was his favorite track. So I look for a better day. Obviously, without the crash, he would have been much better. So like I said, though, I think everything's going to come down to the start for these guys. If they can get up front, get out, stay out of trouble, the race will be much, much easier. Saw Ben Watson on his track walk with Jackie Vimon last night, and he has massive blisters on the palms of his hands due to not riding over the last few weeks, but spoke to Jackie this morning and said that the blisters okay. He said yes, they are, and we've all ridden with blisters anyway. The Fly Racing 15-second board goes up. MX2 race 1 here, 14th round of the FIM Motocross World Championship, the MXGP of Belgium, and we are at Lommel. Jason Thomas and me, Paul Malin, getting ready to call this one here. The heads go down, the revs go up. Who will it be that grabs the foxhole shot here in race 1? So far, Jorge Prado has 17 of them, and it looks like it's going to be he on the back wheel who sweeps through that first turn, but the foxhole shot line on the exit here of turn 2. Prado all day long. Foxhole shot number 18 in the books. His teammate right there behind him. But Jacoby making an early move. But he's got to be careful there. Everything tightens up. And look at the craters and the bomb holes here. Olsen right there in about 5th place behind Sterry. So both the F&H guys side by side. There's Sterry, Boeremé just behind them on the Honda. And as they come into land, it's Watson is the first Yamaha guy. 919. So where is Jago Geerts? We're going to pick them up on the first split. Jago Geerts is buried, not even inside the top 20 at the moment. So he has got a lot of work to do, Jago Geerts. Didn't get the start that he wanted.
It's exactly what we were scared of.
And there he is, 31st place, as Olsen gets pushed wide by Watson, who took the line away aggressively from the Dane. But 2, 3, 4, 5th place here for Watson on the Yamaha. It's going to be a tough race. MX2, the track already destroyed after 2 days of racing. It's going to get tougher before the day runs out. Jason?
So difficult for Geerts here. All of the other contenders are at the front except for him. It's for a race where he really wanted to perform in front of his home crowd to get a start. Maybe he went down, but to be 31st, really he's just going to be eating sand for the next 30 minutes.
Maybe we'll see a replay of the start and maybe get some kind of understanding as to why he is so far back. But it's Prado who leads Vialle by 2 seconds already. Sterry is third, Jacoby is fourth. So Sterry on the charge. He's found his way past his teammate Jacoby. Watson is 5th here in blue. Then that white machine there, the Rockstar in the Husqvarna of Thomas Olsen is 6th. Cyril Janot on the 105, the A1M Husqvarna. And Jago Geerts already up to 7th before the end of the lap is out, Jason. Impressive stuff.
He's on the gas, yeah. 31 to 17 and half a lap is moving. Everybody's, bunched together at the moment. But, man, this guy, he's going to be gone. And he's probably looking back. He doesn't see Geerts back there, which is probably a welcome sign for him.
So Janot in 7, Boeremé 8, Sanai was 9, but Maxime Renault, Yamaha SM Action, MC Milior is past him. That's them in the background there on the exit of turn 2. Michael Sandner riding for Hitachi KTM UK. Fueled by Milwaukee in for... well, one of the injured riders. We've got Bas Vassen and Conrad Muse getting ready to come back to action, but he's up there doing it on his own. Mitchell Harrison, good start for the Bud Racing Kawasaki rider, as Olsen looking to fight back past Watson. Watson's going to get hung up here. Got caught behind Jacoby, but he's responded well. But again, Olsen using those tall, well, they're both tall, but using that long range just to get himself off the back of that bike. And Olsen, heavy landing there, coming over the hill, takes 2 positions in 2 corners. He means business.
He's riding well, but these guys have to be wondering what in the world they have to do to beat Prado. You see him, he's already turning the fastest sectors of the race this lap. It's just unbelievable effort by this guy. Week in and week out, doesn't matter the conditions, doesn't matter the terrain, the country. He just brings it every time.
And look how hard everyone else is working, pulling up on the handlebars, just fighting the bike through all the corners. And he is just in another gear, just effortless, just making it look so easy and conserving energy in the process while these guys are all fighting with each other.
Yeah, it's talent and it's confidence, and when those things all converge, you end up seeing a rider like Prado, and he's a once-in-a-generation type talent so far in his career. It's honestly a pleasure to watch him.
Just keeping an eye on Jago Geerts, where he is. He crossed the line in 12th, so he was 31st at the first split point on the opening lap, and he's now already up into 12th. So when people at the end of the race say it's difficult to pass because all the lines are the same, take note, Geerts is on the move on that Monster Energy Khmer Yamaha. I'm sure we'll pick him up any moment, but there's Olsen just going by in 4th. There's Jacoby, the number 29, in 5th. Watson 6, Renault 7, Janot 8, Boeremé 9, and Valandren didn't get a good start either for Team HRC, the guy who finished 2nd in the qualifying race yesterday, Jason Thomas.
Yeah, got his work cut out for him. These guys are going to move up quickly, though. You're wondering. There goes Geerts. They're going to have a serious battle, and Valandren's going to want to stick to the rear end of him and not let him go. But
Valandren just finding his way past the 172, but Jago Geerts is on an absolute mission here. Finds his way easily past Boeremé on the Honda Red Motor Asa Motor machine. Fans on their feet. Goes after the number 10 of Valandren. And again, just as efficient as Prado. Making it look so easy. A little bit loose there, though, coming into land. But again, 2 riders, to the inside, the 105. And that's 8th place for Jago Geerts.
That's tough for Villander. Typically, when you get a bad start, you really want to be able to move forward. And to get past, you lose another spot.
So Jago Geerts fell on the start. We're going to pick those images up in a moment. But Jago Geerts already up inside the top 10. Right, Jago Geerts. Just over on the right-hand side. Got caught in the middle here. Going into the turn, look. And then over the bars. Does he get hit? Manages to avoid getting contact, but he was right at the back. So already now, Jago Geerts up into 8th place. And that is impressive in the space of a lap. But Jago Geerts still got some work to do. 2:01 in traffic.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. He's going to be kicking himself if he gets to second and just wonder what if.
Here's Borromé. So Borromé has already been dispatched by Jago Geerts. That's the French rider. Last year's European champion, Villander, picking himself up. And Mitchell Harrison, is that? Yeah, Mitchell Harrison goes by. So the Bud Racing Kawasaki rider and Darian Sinai going through. And in fact, there's Harrison in the background. It must have been Moreau. Oh, it was Harrison, 35. So having a much better race here. And yeah, he just underestimated the place, he said yesterday when I spoke to him after the time practice session yesterday.
I've never spoken to an American that rode Lommel and said, yeah, it was okay. It wasn't wasn't that difficult.
But look at the difference in power there between the HRC Honda and the Bud Racing Kawasaki. That might just be down to either gearing or just gear selection coming out of the turns. As we've said, you need to be committed. You need those tall gears to pull you forward, Jason.
Yeah, it's true in our form, knowing how to ride with a taller gear and still be in the power band at a track like this. And yeah, these riders have much more experience than Mitchell Harrison does in Europe.
Right, Jago Geerts in the middle. Up behind Maxime Renault, who has gone past Jacoby, and Jago Geerts giving the fans what they want, apart from a first turn crash, of course. But this is absolutely sensational stuff from Jago Geerts. I can see him getting to second by the time the checkered flag is done. He's got 22.5 minutes plus 2 to go, and that is an eternity. But he's eating riders up for lunch here. There's Watson just ahead of him. Two corners away, but around the outside of Maxime Renault. All about that momentum.
He's in traffic and still turning the second best lap on the track. That's it's pretty impressive.
How much damage is this doing, though, for the second race? It's warmer than it was yesterday. It's around 25, 26 degrees at the moment. Quick pull of the roll-offs there. Geerts now up into 6th place, a 2:02.9, just 2 seconds off of Prado, who was a 2-minute 0.6 on his own. Is only 9.5 seconds up the road from second place, Tom Vialle. Geerts 22, 23 seconds down. Although, talk about France, when Jago Geerts came from behind to beat Prado, are we going to see something sensational like that here in race 1? Who knows?
It's going to take a mistake from Prado. I think Vialle's in danger here, but you see Prado, he's already at 10-second advantage. He's going to put it on cruise control before we know it.
So after 3 laps, Jorge Prado leads on the Red Bull KTM, 9.3 seconds clear of his teammate Tom Vialle. Adam Sterry, the lead F&H Racing Kawasaki, in 3rd. Thomas Olsen, Rockstar Energy Husqvarna, about 2 seconds further back, 3 seconds further back. Then Watson, the lead Monster Energy Khmer Yamaha rider. But for how much longer, because Jago Geerts is closing in on him, his teammate. Then we've got Maxime Renault, Yamaha SM Action, MC Migliori, and the second of the F&H boys, Henry Jacoby, now in 8. Cyril Janot, 9 on the A1M Husqvarna, and Matthijs Borromé is the lead Honda. On the private satellite team of Honda Red Motor, Asamotor, Villander for HRC is next in 11th place after a mistake. Here's your race leader, Jorge Prado, enjoying the hard pack conditions here of Lommel.
He's making it look like hard pack. This guy, to watch in person, having been out there and ridden sand, for years of my life, he's doing it a totally different way than most will ever accomplish.
And this is also impressive from Tom Vialle. I know he's lapping 3 seconds slower than his teammate at the moment, but not a sand rider by any means. And obviously, that shows how hard he's worked with Dirk Grubel and everybody over there at KTM in the off-season in order to make this a great debut season. It's his rookie season, don't forget.
Oh, it's crazy. I think everybody was scratching their heads a bit when he was hired, just wondering how this was going to turn out, and he has absolutely delivered. It certainly impressed me.
I think it's impressed everybody. Here's Watson and Geerts, so 5 and 6 for these two. But has the steam started to As the push started to fail here, or falter, from Jago Geerts. Nicely through that rhythm section there, but his time last time at 2:03, his teammate 2:06. So on that basis, no, but he is on the same times now as Vialle, Sterry and Olsen. Up the inside of Watson. So now in 5th place, Jago Geerts. It's been demonic, the performance so far from the shy, softly spoken Belgian. But put a race helmet on him, a different character altogether.
What I love about what he's done so far is he is not waiting on anyone. As soon as he approaches another rider, he goes immediately past. He doesn't follow, he doesn't wait, there's no hesitation, and that's really what's helped him get to the front so far. And
he switches his lines up accordingly. So inside, outside here if he has to go, but the inside here favours a lot of the riders at the moment. Right, here's Olsen on the back of Sterry. So this is for 3rd place. Adam Sterry saw him get a 2nd place finish in race 2 last week at Loket in the Czech Republic for his best ever career finish, 4th overall on another one of his favourite tracks as well. So hardpack and sand, 2 favourite tracks for Sterry in the space of 2 weekends.
Very strange. Got a beach ball out there on the track.
Beach ball or a balloon or something.
Yeah, but that was a weird comment from Sterry. And hey, whatever track's your favorite is your favorite, but completely different approach. Sand to hardpack. One, you have to be super patient. One, the other one, rewards aggression. But he's making it work. He's living up to his prediction that he would be up front again.
And also showing how good the Kawasaki is. And he's closing in on Vialle. Last time around, he was 4 seconds down on the French rider. Looks like he may have halved that gap. Might be 2.5, something like that. Let's have a look. 2:03.5 for Vialle, 2:03.9 last time. They're about to hit the line now, and it's a 2:06.0 and a 2:04. So yeah, halved. Olsen fighting with that Rockstar Energy Husqvarna. Team Workshop just the other side of the trees here. Oh, bit of a bobble there from Sterry. Just wanted to jump in, but just pitched him up to the right. Dealt with it well, though.
You wonder how long Vialle will be able to hang in there. If there's been one detraction you can make this year, it's been the second half of the motos. He's given up a little bit to these guys. And a day like today, where it's going to take every ounce of effort you have, it'll be interesting to see if he can hang in there.
But it shows how important a good start is. When you're 17.5 minutes to go, and you're still in 2nd, and you've still got 3 or 4 seconds over the guys behind you, and then a huge gap. Worst case scenario is going to come out of this one 4th. Maybe 5th if Geerts gets up there.
I'm coming to think you could literally put anyone on one of the MX2 KTMs and they would get a good start, but it's probably not fair to their talent levels, but these guys have been unbelievable at the beginning of the race.
Right, this has been the story of Jago Geerts' race so far. Obviously, he fell at the turn, at turn 1 early on, but this was on Boiramé. Boiramé now down in 12th place, but he was a little bit further up the field. Then on for Landrin and Cyril Chenot. 2 riders in 2 corners. And then he found his way past Jacobi and Maxime Renault. Very, very quickly indeed. And he's now up into, well, then he passed his teammate, Ben Watson, to get himself into 5th place. So pretty much the last 5 places from 10th to 5th for Jago Geerts. Right, Maxime Renault, he's also pretty handy in the sand. Closing in on Watson. Not easy for Watson. Been off the bike for a few weeks. Only been on the bike a couple of times coming into this GP. Major problems with the palms of his hands and blisters. Having to hold on in a weird way. That's going to create arm pump problems. And Renault just picks him off like he's just like a sitting duck.
Blisters are a tough one because the only way to help that is to ride a lot, so your hands toughen up. Well, you know what happens when you ride a lot? Your blisters get worse. So there's really no winning that in the middle of the season.
So Watson now gets demoted to 7th place as Maxime Renault here in red comes through for Yamaha SM Action MC Migliori. Meanwhile, Jorge Prado, 17 seconds clear of Vialle, a 2:03 that time around. He steadied his ship. Geerts still on the same lap times as the race leader, 2:03.6 though, half a second slower. But his gap to Olsen, 5 seconds. He's lapping 2 seconds a lap quicker. Hello. Going to get juicy soon, isn't it?
Yeah, these guys probably don't know that Geerts is back there yet, but they're going to see him coming soon. Olsen probably has an idea that he's coming, but it's almost inevitable when you're trying everything you can do and someone's catching you 2 seconds a lap. It's almost just worry about yourself because it's really difficult to find 2 seconds in one lap.
He is hauling. Good crowd here this weekend as well. And great to see the Belgian organising crew led out by Johan Boonen, doing everything to make this the best GP possible. It's easy when you've got a guy like this, though, that they're all going to come and pay big, pay the money through the gate to come and see him.
Well, and for Geerts here, he can absolutely hear the crowd, and it's driving him on. He's riding on pure adrenaline. He crashes on the start, his home race.
Talking about the gear note and the engine note of that bike, did you hear how deep that was coming through that right-hander? A guy who's using the gearbox, using those taller gears to propel him forward.
And really the biggest benefit to that is it allows the suspension to work, and he's getting so much less wheel spin, and all of that just propels you forward. You talk to any great sand rider, and that's one of the biggest things they'll tell you right away is you need to be a gear tolerant, low RPM, and everything's going to happen much more smoothly.
And he is closing in fast. Prado's already over the line, 7 seconds, 7 laps in the books. The gap between Olsen and Geerts last time around was 5 seconds because Olsen did a 2:05.6 and Geerts was a 2:03.6. Both riders are about to hit the line now. Has that gap come down? I think it has. Olsen 2:04, maybe not. So both riders are 2:04, so maybe Olsen sensing the urgency, but he's also got Sterry right back in front of him as well. So a green carrot in the form of Adam Sterry is being dangled right underneath the helmet of Thomas Olsen.
The interesting thing will be, as the laps wind down, making up multiple seconds a lap becomes much easier as these guys get tired. So he's only making up half a second a lap here now. That could easily turn into 2 or 3 seconds a lap in the last 4 or 5 laps.
Then add to the mix the back markers and the traffic that they're about to hit. Like now. Sterry riding good, though. He's there in 3rd place. His pace is slow, though, to Vialle's. So he's not closing in, but you can hear where Jago Geerts is on the track.
What I've noticed with this track is you make so many mistakes. So,
Olsen off again, and I think that's a bigger crash in his first race in the qualifying yesterday. Jago Geerts goes through as a result of that, but maybe Olsen, well, pushing just too hard. But we've seen how unforgiving this track is, Jason Thomas. Deep ruts, big holes. You're in a race. You're having to push hard and. You got to run the risk sometimes.
Same exact section, just the complete opposite side of the jump.
So Olsen out of 4th place, and that is going to have massive points to Jorge Prado. It was 90 points coming into this first race between 1st and 2nd in the championship. But Olsen loses that 4th place. Geerts now into 4th. Sterry not too far ahead of him either. Look, that's the gap, 3rd and 4th right there.
We saw that fence moving. I'm hoping that was the bike moving that fence and not TKO.
So we'll soon see if he hits the 2nd sector, if he's back on the bike or not, Thomas Olsen. But he went down hard there. We'll keep an eye on that. But Jago Geerts moves up into 4th. He's 4 seconds down on Sterry. Was 3 seconds quicker, 2.5 seconds quicker that lap alone. And he locks up and he sees Adam Sterry just ahead of him on the F&H Kawasaki. But just a fantastic performance so far. He was on the deck at turn 2, picked himself up last, hit the 1st intermediate sector, was 31st, came round on the over the line and in 17th place, and then by the time he was lap 2, he was already into 8th position.
Yeah, this has kind of been the story of his whole season. He is making life so much more difficult for himself with poor starts, and by the time, Prado and Vialle really aren't even dirty at halfway, and it looks like Geerts has been through a war to get to the front.
But he is just riding just fantastic.
Yeah, you just want to see him and Prado get out 1-2 and duke it out. And maybe Prado has too much, but it would be sure interesting to watch.
And obviously the problem is for the 2nd race, they're still down there with Olsen. So Olsen hasn't picked himself up. Verlanderen finding his way past Jacobi for 7th place, but the German is going to muscle his way up the inside. I'll tell you what, that was close. Jacobi had to go off track there just to avoid a collision. Good effort, though, from Verlanderen. Watch these two here coming into turn 2 in a moment. The left-hander, a slight bobble there from Jacobi. Verlanderen, did he run him wide? No, kept it nice and clean. And Jacobi doing a practice start, squaring off and getting on the power early. Thought he would out-drag that Honda, but the HRC boys had it.
The last thing you want to do is let Jacobi have the inside entering a turn. So you could tell he was really trying to close that off there.
Although Sterry went around the outside of him last week in Lockett.
Very brave.
So Sterry pulling clear of Jacoby. Prado already over the line. 9 laps complete. A 2:07.7 last time around. Opening lap, a 1:59.0. So 8 seconds slower than it was at the start.
Yeah, that's what he does so well. You know, the track was obviously much smoother and the intensity was higher, but he is so great on the opening lap of just building a gap and then just manages it.
But it's also significant in how, nicely done there, tripling his way out and closing in on the rear wheel of 811 Adam Sterry. And Olsen, good to see him picking himself up, but second in the championship now. Well, I mean, he's got 113 points over Jago Geerts, but watch this here. Just jumped off track, landed soft on the bank, just pulled him in, look, over the bars. He and the bike through the fence. He's been down a lap. His race is done. Olsen goes back to get himself sorted, hopefully for race 2, but he's going to be feeling a little bit second-hand and detuned as he heads into race 2. 113 points he had over Jago Geerts. That will move the Yamaha rider a little bit closer, but hopefully and thankfully it looks that Olsen is okay in general.
Yeah, you're just happy to see him get up after that. That could have been much, much worse.
Right, here's Vialle second. Couple back markers in there. And then Sterry. And Geerts hits to the inside in red. Gets caught behind a back marker. Bad line choice that for the Belgian. Should have followed Sterry through, but he's got back onto the rear wheel, though. This is for third. Sterry and Geerts. And traffic all over the place. There aren't enough blue flags in one corner for all of them. Oh, he lost the front end through there, didn't he? Jago Geerts. Looked like it got away from him just before he dropped off that little drop down there. But Vialle, Sterry, Geerts. We said second position was possible, and he's 8 minutes away from finding that second position and those 22 points with a real shot of taking the overall. But again, he's had to ride hard. How much physically has this taken out of him? I don't care how many laps he's done around here. He's not ever ridden as hard around this place in these conditions as you're having to ride right now. Yeah, at this point of the moto, you almost want to just take a deep breath right here. You can see Vialle in front of you. That's second. You know that's as far as you're going. You have, you know, probably 5 to 6 laps left. Take a deep breath, reset, and go after these guys because he's had to work, like you said, incredibly hard to get here. You would almost want to see him exercise a little bit of patience with these few laps left. Yeah, you're not going to do all this hard work for nothing, are you? Or hopefully.
It's really difficult to tell where you are as far as where the rest of the pack is and what place you're in and all the chaos of a crash in the first turn. But now we can see clearly Vialle up there, and I'm sure he's much more calm than he's been the rest of the race right now.
So second, third, and fourth right here. Led out by the Red Bull KTM of Tom Vialle just in the right-hand back wheel. Steps out there from Sterry as Jago Geerts tries to find his way into third position. This is the jump where Olsen fell. And he does find his way past. But Sterry will be pretty tough here in this next left-hander. Yeah, and closes down the door. No way through, so then he switches it up. This is what you were talking about.
Refuses to follow.
Exactly. Again, goes around the outside this time around. And Sterry makes a mistake, and Sterry off the track. Then he has to rejoin as safe as he can, and the other side of those FMF boards. But Geerts now up into third. He's got Vialle ahead of him in second. Well, this is going to make headline news locally. But again, how much is he going to take out of him? But then having said that, he had a huge crash in Palembang at the first Indonesian round and came back and led the second race with about 4 minutes to go. So you never know with this kid.
Yeah, you know, at this point, I think the hard work is done. I don't think he fears Vialle in the sand at this point. He's come from, 20 or 30 seconds behind Vialle at this point. So if he can get him close here in the next lap, I think he can save a lot of energy in the last 5+2 here, and hopefully that'll pay off in the second moto.
Yeah, because he's 26 seconds down on Jorge Prado. Watch this here. Triple all the way in, and that's second position right there. Difference in line choice, difference in the way that he commits. He's been doing it every single lap, triple in and tripling out. And just watch this. He triples here, Vialle goes double there, and then the triple over the step.
Well, it's pretty incredible. 2 laps ago, we were just wondering, you know, how long will it take to get by these guys? He's finally caught up, and yeah, 2 laps later, and he's gone. You know, and pretty much now, he can put it into cruise control. I don't think he'll have any type of challenge from behind from Vialle, so hopefully someone in his corner is telling him to save a bit for next time out.
Is there a danger, though, just switching off now, trying to conserve energy, and then making a mistake, rather than his intensity has been high all race, and with 4.5 minutes to go, you'd probably just want to keep that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that's what we've been saying all weekend, is you have to maintain your focus here. But I also feel that he's ridden so many laps here that he could probably ride with a blindfold on. If I were him right now, I would be looking for all sorts of lines. Try to figure out an attack plan for the second moto, because if you want anything to do with Prado, you're going to have to be your absolute best self.
Look how efficient that was through there. Here is Prado. Red Bull KTM Factory Racing leads the way. 18 Fox hole shots in the books. That's almost an unfair advantage as it is. You know, you got 26 hole shots last year, and you come into this one with 17, with 10 motos left to run. And he could go one better in that particular competition. And I mean, that's just an achievement all by itself. First of all, you need a good start. He does it time and time and time again.
Well, it's funny that the guy that looks like he's trying the least is the one with a 25-second lead. So I have a feeling that those two go hand in hand.
But it would be interesting to see him and Jago Geerts, gloves on, duking it out, race 2. But this guy's ridden a smart race. Did the hard work at the beginning, got himself up front, opened up 24 seconds. And it's him that, well, we say he's in cruise mode, but 2:06. Jago Geerts, the first time he's gone quicker than Prado. Right, Brian Moreau was 17th. But is he going to... came up short. Came up short in that hole, trying to get the distance.
That could have been a lot worse.
Could have been a lot worse. But just shows how ruthless this track is, how relentless it is, and how it just sucks you in and doesn't take any prisoners. Thomas Olsen has sandpawed the sand here twice. Once in the qualifying race off the side of the jump on the left, and then once in the race here over on the opposite side of the jump. And we saw it there with Brian Moreau as well, but Prado in cruise mode.
I can't tell if this is a sighting lap or what's going on here. He just goes to show he's effortless. I mean, it's unbelievable. And yeah, his lap times have surely dropped off, but I mean, he's still turning in respectable laps, and yeah, his effort level is very low right now.
Well, quicker than everybody else. You know, Adam Sterry is the Adam Sterry 2:08. Ben Watson in 6, a 2:07 last time around. So they're still good times for Watson and Sterry. But Jorge Prado, it's going to be 3 laps to go from here, because lap times 2:06. It's just less than 150 now. He comes out of the final turn, this single, and then the finish line jump.
Be curious to see what this lap is. I'm going to say it's going to be a 2:08 or 2:09. He just didn't look like he had a whole lot of pace that lap. Yeah, 2:09.
Almost a 10, huh? 2:09.9. Right, Sterry. He's found his way past Vialle, so he gets himself a top 3 position here on the F&H Racing Kawasaki. So the Welshman doing his nation proud. A second last week, a third at the moment. Just takes a quick look over his shoulder. Looks like he messed up in that corner there, just putting on a bit of a check on Vialle. So another solid ride here for Adam Sterry. And after this one, he'll be eyeing up a potential first ever podium in MX2.
Yeah, I think he felt he really didn't have anything he could do with Geerts there, but he's been behind Vialle the entire race, and I almost wonder if he knew that when they got close to the end here, he would be able to get by Vialle pretty easily, but I don't think there was much he was going to be able to do with the front 2 either way.
2:53, Jan Pancha coming through here in, what, 18th place? 17th place, just finds his way past Marcel Koenen, the third of the F&H Racing Kawasaki boys. A few other riders just back end here. Is that Peter Polak? I think it is, just behind Vlaanderen. So, but Vlaanderen in 7th position. Polak is in 19th place. So Vlaanderen lapping into the points as well. So Vlaanderen had a tough race. He was up there mixing it, wasn't he? And then just 1 or 2 little errors. 7th now for the HRC rider.
Yeah, I had that crash really set him back. Otherwise, he's riding pretty well. He had a great qualifying race yesterday, so you know he was hoping for more coming into today.
So Prado leads 22.5 seconds over Jago Geerts, who has picked himself up last coming through turn 1. It was 8th by the time he'd reached the 2nd lap, and he just picked his way methodically. Maybe he was helped a little bit by Thomas Olsson's fall, but you sense he was close enough to maybe launch an attack anyway, and he was eventually going to get the 2nd, Jason Thomas.
Yeah, it's inevitable. I really feel, you know, it's between these two. Geerts isn't putting himself in any sort of position to even battle with Jorge, but yeah, this is a 2-horse race for the second moto, no doubt.
And it all depends on the start. And this guy, time and time again, as we've said,
it's automatic.
Yeah,
it's automatic.
Picks up that foxhole shot. Here's Jago Geerts, 2:07. So another 2nd quicker than Prado, but we've seen Prado has already backed it right off. So, well, he'll need to work hard to recover after this one. Well, Jago Geerts, he's got 11, 12 seconds over Sterry, who's ridden well again to be there in 3rd place for F&H Racing. Vialle about 3 seconds further back on lap 14, or as we head into lap 15. Watson, that's actually been a decent ride for Watson. Off the bike for about 6 weeks, and he'll be pleased with that. So here's Jago Geerts. Just under 2 laps to go. Here he is now. Oh, there's Prado, and here's Geerts. So it gives you an idea of what 21 seconds looks like on this racetrack. Out of turn 2 and working his way through just towards that little kink before you rejoin at the start straight. Here's Sterry. That's actually where Olsson crashed. So the first, the jump before is where Olsson crashed in qualifying, and then this one in the race.
Nothing more frustrating for Geerts there, to be covered in dirt, trying as hard as he can, and look over and see Prado riding in 7th gear by himself.
Yeah. Still, great performance from his young teammate, Tom Vialle. Of course, talking about Prado. Adam Sterry still can't switch off, though, can he? Because Vialle hasn't been dropped here. But again, how much of this is Sterry just going, right, I've got myself to 3rd, I'll just sit here, I'll control it.
Yeah, dropping off to a 210, you know, I don't know. It could be a fitness thing or just the track being that brutal, but you would expect him to pull away a bit more. Vialle has had a little bit of life breathed back into him by the drop off of pace, but I don't think we're going to see any passes here.
No. And the thing is, it was crucial that Jago Geerts got himself into 2nd, because in a reverse of positions, in the 2nd race, let's say Jago wins the 2nd race and Prado 2nd, that determines the Grand Prix as well. But 3rd, he can afford to finish in 2nd, Prado.
Yeah, it's just so difficult to see anyone able to beat Prado right now. It's happened, of course, and Jago's riding incredibly well, but it just seems like Prado has every single aspect of the race dialed in right now.
Slight bobble there. There'll be some tired legs on the young teenager. His heartbeat would have been through the roof as he picked himself up and put in that burst. Those first 2 or 3 laps, his intensity was through the roof. But again, it's just when you see people like Jago and people like Jago and people like Prado, the way they ride in the sand, you know, and Jeffrey Hurlings, of course, you know, very efficient. Right, here's Jago Geerts going down at the start of the race. He will be over on the right-hand side any moment now. About 5 guys back, there you go, over the left, and then back end comes around, and then he went down, picks himself up right at the back. 2 laps later, he was 8th. And here he is now 2nd on the final lap. So the Monster Energy Khmer Yamaha rider doing himself proud with that performance, but how much has it taken out of him? We might see, let's say, he and Prado get out up front early in race 2, but it might be that 2nd half of the race, he might just lose out to this guy here who's been able to conserve a lot more energy, having not fought his way through the pack chasing.
Well, I would guess that their heart rates mimic their numbers. Jago was about 193 the entire race, and Jorge was 61. So Yeah, when at a race like this where energy is everything, Jorge did himself a lot of favors.
And Prado wins race 1 here at Lommel. And he does so in convincing fashion, but a fantastic ride for this guy, Jago Geerts. Picked himself up off the deck at turn 1, turn 2, and he's pushed his way right the way back up to second with laps to spare. And he'll go back, he'll recover and recuperate and think about trying to stay on through the first couple of corners. Gave them what they wanted, and he's not let anybody down. No, you know, for sure not. But here's Adam Sterry, third for the F&H Kawasaki rider. A good ride for the Welshman. All of a sudden, his season, you know, it's just had a complete turnaround, hasn't it? Second last week, third today. Good job, Adam Sterry. Vialle fourth, Ben Watson fifth. And then it'll be Maxime Renault sixth.
Good ride for Renault.
Yeah. 7 for Landron. Tough race for the Honda rider. Then Jacoby, Osland and Sinai. Sinai in a point. Good to see Darren Sinai nice. Picking up some points on the toughest racetrack that he's going to be on all year. In fact, for Sinai, where was that? 10th place.
Harrison 12. 2 Americans in the top 12.
So good job, Mitchell Harrison. That's better than he probably would have expected after his time practice yesterday. But anyway, here's Prado with Lisa.
Jorge Prado, congratulations. You picked up an 18th foxhole shot. You made it look easy, reserving energy, I think, in the process. But how was it out there for you?
It was good. You know, track is very rough, very, very rough. So you gotta, you know, be careful with your energy. Just, you know, don't push too much in this first moto to get in the second one and make the work. So happy with the first one. I felt good. Track is rough, it's tough. So we'll see how it goes the second one.
Good luck for the second race.
I think he hit the nail right on the head there, Jason Thomas. The trick with this place is just to manage your energy levels.
Well, it's a little easy when you have a 20-second lead the entire time, right? So I think Jago would probably disagree with how that race went.
Making it look so easy. Foxhole shot number 18 turns it into a win. And the impressive thing about that is before this race, he had 383 laps led, 83.2. He's just added another 16.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see much different down the stretch. The guy is clearly the best guy in MX2 right now.
So Red Bull KTM, Jorge Prado wins race 1. Jago Geerts, Monster Energy Khmer, Yamaha was second. Adam Sterry, F&H Kawasaki third. Vialle fourth, Watson fifth. Renault for Yamaha, SM Action, MC Miliori. HRC's for Landron. And then Jacoby. Alvin Osland, good ride for the Revo Husqvarna rider, actually. He snuck in there. Good ride in qualifying as well from the back. So he'll be looking forward to race 2. Darren Sinai in 10th for Bike It DRT. And then Cyril Janot, A1M Husqvarna. Mitchell Harrison came in 12th for Bud Racing Kawasaki. Leciado, Borromei, Sandner, Laranaga, Sikina, Polak, Konin, and Lars Griekspoor. Music blaring out all over this racetrack here, trying to encourage the mood. Not that they need much encouragement when there's a couple of beer tents and a load of liquid refreshment available on tap. Let's take a look at the highlights then for MX2 race 1. Jorge Prado over on the left-hand side, about 10 gates over on the back wheel just to take the mick even more. Into turn 2 with foxhole shot number 18. His teammate was right there, so too with the F&H Kawasaki's. That was Jago Geerts going down in the middle of the pack and picking himself up right at the back. Sterry was well placed in 4th. Olsen right behind him in 5th place. Watson made an early move to move up the inside of Olsen, just to make the Dane work a little bit harder in the race. And then Olsen eventually came under attack from Olsen once again. Watson then got pushed down a position, but not for long though. Despite making his moves on Jacoby, it was slow progress compared to the 193 of Jago Geerts, who is now up inside the top 10 and passing riders at will. That was Valandrin just tipping over in the left. That cost him a couple positions. And more places were being eyed up by the 193. Moved himself easily aside of Renault. And then Watson. And then Olsen. Nice big jump there, but then it all went wrong for the Dane. The Rockstar Energy Husqvarna rider off the side of the track into the fence. He would not finish the race. He did pick himself up, though. Hopefully he'll start race 2. Just saw Vialle in there and Jacoby. That was for 7th and 8th. Adam Sterry made that mistake in 3rd. That allowed Geerts to go through into 3rd, sorry, and then Vialle was just ahead of him. And it was an easy pass for the Belgian on the French rider. Sterry moved to 3rd with that move on Vialle in the latter stage of the race, but 20-odd seconds clear when the time the checkered flag went out. Jorge Prado, Red Bull KTM Factory Racing, a winner for the 23rd time in 2019. Incredible.
Unbelievable. I haven't seen a performance like this. Jeffrey Hurling's comes to mind.
Right, let's take a look at the foxhole shot, shall we? 5 out a week. Jorge Prado, 18 Fox black plates now. And there's Jago Geerts just picking himself up. Green Bradwood, Fox dealer. Guy I know very well. Brad Greenwood, of course. Look at that. 18. No one else even close. But KTM do have 23 of those hole shots. Jacoby's got 1, Olsen has 1, Sanai and Roman are most like 24 if you count the Husky then.
Yeah, it's utter domination. I mean, we've seen it in both classes for several years now in the hole shots. So they've almost got what they wanted. A good result from Jago Geerts. Can he turn it into a race win in race 2? Well, we'll ponder that, and we'll take a look at some of the best moments. Let's just summarize, Jason Thomas. First race, MX2. All about Prado. We were hoping Geerts would be in the mix there. Maybe he will for Moto 2, but Prado is just dominating every aspect and really has these guys under pressure.
Not an easy racetrack to come to, but Jago Geerts and Jorge Prado making it look easier than it looked on TV, that's for sure.
Yeah, you see him wheeling. He wheelied down the entire start straightaway there. I mean, it's even when he makes a mistake, he comes out with the lead. It's pretty incredible.
Jason and I will be back in 2 minutes for MXGP Race 1. We'll see you then. Bye for now.
Can you feel it?